Here I'm going to show you what else I would do with this picture that we previously edited in Lightroom. So I just want to touch this up a little bit, and I'm going to bring it into a plugin called Luminar by Skylum Software. So I'm just going to right click on this, and I'm going to choose Edit In, and I'm going to choose Luminar Neo. So I'm going to click on that and just send this out, and then it's going to load it up in Luminar. All right, we are inside of Luminar right now. And when you open Luminar, you're going to get presets. I don't really care for presets because presets are only really valuable if your images are all kind of starting from roughly the same place. So I'm going to come up here to the Edit tab, and it's going to give me a list of the tools. Now, I have the ones that I use on a regular basis under Favorites here, but they're all classified, or they're all sort of sorted down here, so you're not going to have favorites the first time you open this. So if you don't have these tools here, you might need to go through the list and find them. The first thing I'm going to do is to come down here to Enhance AI. And I want to do a light touch. This is going to improve the overall contrast of the image just a little bit. And as I do this, I kind of push it up. And in this case, all that it's really doing is increasing the detail in the foreground. But this foreground's not all that interesting. So I think for this particular image, I'm going to more or less forego it. Oh, there we are. I think 3, it gave me just a little bit more detail here. And that's all I want to do, light touch. I'm going to come down to Structure, and I'm going to look and see what this does. So I'm going to start moving this up, and it's increasing the contrast. Look in the sky, for example. I see that increasing contrast a little bit. So I like this at maybe like 11. Again, not a heavy touch. The next one that I'm going to do here is, this is the really heavy lifter for me in this type of shot, is super contrast. So I'm going to come down here, and this is going to allow me to adjust the contrast in each of the 3 sort of main tonal ranges, the highlights, the midtones, and the shadows. So what I'm going to do is going to look a little funky. I'm going to take the highlight contrast, I'm going to move it to 100. Now this looks kind of flat, but then I'm going to use this highlight balance slider, and I want to push it around and see what it does. As I push it over to the left, it brightens up the highlights. Now if I push it all the way up to the left, you see that this area here has gone totally white. I've lost all detail there. If I start to push it up, if I get here, it hasn't gone white, but it seems like I've lost, it just looks like a flat green. And that means that this color channel, in this case it would be the green color channel, is clipping. And there's not really much red or blue data in there. So I'm getting this sort of flat color that's losing detail. That's too high too. So I need to go back until I see till everything looks like there's nice smooth gradations all the way. So that's about the best of the contrast I'm going to do at 100%. And now I'm going to take this slider and move it back and forth and see where do I think this looks its best. And I'm going to settle in maybe around here. I'm going to do the same thing at the shadow contrast. I'm going to go pull that all the way up. And then I'm going to move this, in this case, I'm going to move it to the right until I get sort of a good black point. And then I'll see where do I want this? And maybe I'll push this up like that. And then I'm going to go with the midtones. Midtones, I'm never sure when I want to move which direction I want to move the slider. So I'm going to move this up to 100 and go up and down. I think I like how when I push this over to the right, I'm actually making this brighter and this darker. So I'm going to go with that a little bit, maybe about like there. But again, I'm starting to lose some detail in this brightest part of the Aurora. So I'm going to dial that back and say, oh, where can I go? That's going to maybe about like that. I might need to bring this highlight contrast a little bit back just to try and avoid clipping out in this area right here. So there's my super contrast. And finally, I want to finish it off with a glow. So I click on the glow, and the type of glow, I'm going to choose Orton effect. And I like to push it to around 20 to 25. Well, 23, that looks good. But I find that it's too bright in its sort of standard way of doing it, so I'm going to bring the brightness down to taste. In my case, maybe about there. And then I'm going to click Apply. So that's what I started with. And in a second, it'll load up what I finished. That's how I would change this or edit this picture inside of Luminar.